Kathleen, can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to try and talk you through I'm going to try and talk you through the audio problem you're having. If you go to Tools and then Audio and Microphone Settings, you just need to check that the right microphone is selected. There should be 2 options in the list. Now, I can actually hear myself feeding back through. So do you want to try talking, Kathleen, and see if I can hear you? I can't hear you. I'm going to just jump down there. I won't be a sec. I'll be down 5. Okay, let's see. Hello, collaborators. Just letting you know that we're just rebooting in the classroom, and we have a backup plan. So we'll get underway in 5 minutes, or we will move on to Plan B. See you soon. Hello, collaborate. Can you hear me? How bad is the feedback for you guys? Echo? How about now, guys? That should be a lot cleaner, I think. Can you hear me okay now? Better? Okay, let me just turn the mic up and we'll get it better than better. We'll get it good. Let's take it to halfway. How's that, guys? Is that good, or do you want us to go a bit louder still? Okie dokie. Cool.
I'm going to have to clip this on. All right. Can you guys, so collaborate, you can still hear me? Yep. Kathleen now, can you hear me? Oh, good. I was worried that I'd angered the technology gods and they weren't going to let me use anything tonight. But it appears Kate's come and pacified them.
Just one thing. If you have any issues, there is a session ready to
Oh,
Sorry. There is an Adobe Connect session ready to roll.
okay.
So don't stress.
All right, cool.
Collaboration side.
No worries. And then we will just, okay. So, sorry everybody about the technical fun and games, but we're ready to go now. So, welcome to INN 333 Workshop 1. If you didn't meet me last week, I'm Kathleen Smeaton. I think Kate mentioned last week that I'm a PhD student within the Information Systems School, and I also do, you might see me hanging around the QUT Library. I do some work at QUT Library as well at Gardens Point and Kelvin Grove in different roles, and I also am involved with the Footpath Library as well. Yeah, the Footpath Library is a library service for homeless people. So yeah, so I sometimes pop up in strange places where you might not expect to see me, but I'm supposed to be there. Okay, so I'll just tell you what we're going to do tonight. So obviously we've started at 5:15. What we're going to do is we're just going to have a quick chat, see how everyone's going. We're going to have 2 lectures tonight with a break in between. So the first one we're going to talk, it's going to be an introduction to programs, products and services. And the second, then we're going to have a break, and then we're going to talk about the 2.0 meme and the participatory organisation. So I just wanted to get a bit of a feel from the room and from Collaborate. Everybody's logged on to the unit website now, had a look around. Yep. Everyone's sort of been able to find out about where the forums are and all those kind of things. And everyone saw the get out of jail free card as well that Kate put out this week, that if you haven't completed your activities, you've got until Sunday. Yep, so we've all seen that. Okay, and does anyone have any questions, or no one's struggling with it or anything? No. Yep. Yes. Okay, so the blog will... Yes. When you subscribe to the Teaching Team blog, the blog updates only come out once a day. So if the alert goes up, after, a certain time, then you won't get it on the alert. But yeah. Yeah, that's just an issue with the way that the WordPress system works with the alerts that it gets out. But if there's anything urgent like that, we can also push out a tweet as well, or any other ways that you guys want us to let you know. Or, big announcements. If there was something that was a major announcement, like you've got to submit your assignment by tonight, we would email you as well. So we wouldn't leave that to be the only form of communication. Oh, okay. No. Yes. Okay, so that's all right if you haven't done this week's reading. Sorry, Collaborate. The question was just about where the readings are. And there are sort of 2 places for the reading. Some of them will be in the learning resources for the week, and some of them that are really tied to the workshop will be in the classes. So sorry for that. So they will be in 2 places. We might put them all in one place if that's going to be easier for you, and just put them all in the learning resources. Yeah. Well, what we do when we set, Collaborate, the question was about play and reflect activities. When we set the play activities, and so when we'll be able to see on the blog if you've been following and commenting, so we will know that. Yes. Yes. So we're in the website looking at what you're doing, like all the time. Big brother. No, only joking. Okay. All right, well, if anyone's got any specific questions about the website or anything that they want me to give them a hand with, then you can grab me during the break or at the end or any other time. But we'll get started. So first of all, what we're going to talk about tonight is an introduction to programs, products and services. Okay. And so the learning objectives from both the workshops are to just develop a shared understanding of what library or information products, programs and services are, and develop an understanding of Web 2.0, how it differs from Web 1.0, and how it informs Library 2.0 and the idea of the participatory organisation or the social business. So we're not just going to be looking at libraries, we're also looking at information organisations, and that's an information organisation is basically anything that's got an information service, so anything that connects people with information. So it could be something like a referral service for migrant communities, or there's lots of information organisations like that that are a place you come to get information if you're a new mum or a migrant or any of those type of things. And then there's also like the Australian Bureau of Statistics has a information service where you can ring up and get stats or email them or talk to them about getting things like that. And then there's, you know, information organisations within organisations, so like your records department or your archives area within an organisation. So that would be an example of an information service. So does that make sense, what an information organisation would be? Yep. And so in this unit, what we're really going to look at is how technology connects with, you know, how these services can use technology, and it connects with programs, products and services to create a participatory organisation or a social business, whatever you'd prefer to call it. Okay, so this is the key message. So in the case of the chicken and the egg, we don't know which came first. Does anyone want to? No one knows the answer? No. Oh, chicken. Oh. Okay, so we do know, unfortunately, now that the chicken came first. Damn you, science, for proving that. But the point that we're making with this slide is that, you know, we might not know what came first in the case of the chicken and the egg, but when it comes to services, products and programs that we're designing, the user always comes first. So it's we've really got to talk, we talk a lot about in this unit about taking a user-centered approach. Sorry, collaborate. So we talk a lot about in this about, you know, technology does solutions. It doesn't, what we're really focusing on is the user, and we're using technology to serve the needs of the user, not just technology for its own sake, not just technolust or the bright shiny things. You know, sometimes I'm a bit of a, is it a magpie or bowerbird? You know, that goes and collects all the shiny things. Like, yeah. Yes, so I worship at the shrine of Apple, and I love all those sort of things. But that's an approach I can take in my own personal life. But when it comes to designing services for an organisation, it's about not just getting excited about the newest and the biggest thing, but thinking about how it's actually going to be of value to the organisation, because it's going to be of value to the user. So sometimes, you know, you wouldn't just want to start a Twitter account because everyone else has got one. And I'm sure, you know, has anyone got any examples of when they think an organisation's just jumped on board and bought some stuff to? Yeah. So we're just, sorry, in Collaborate, we're just saying IT organisations, it kind of goes through cycles where people do that. Yeah. Yeah, so in Collaborate we've just had a conversation about how IT sometimes just gets excited about buying the bright shiny things without looking at the organisation overall. And did you have another example? Oh, QUT example, yep.
I have lots of examples. The combination of an IT department and university just means that the kind of bright shiny thing mentality is amplified.
Okay.
And often the behaviour is not actually...
It's not part of it. Yeah. Okay, so we've just had a comment about QUT and IT doing that. And I guess Yammer, I don't know if you're involved in the... Okay, so everyone's going, Yammer. So I don't know if you guys have... Yes. I don't know if anyone here is everyone familiar with what Yammer is? Yeah, so Yammer is like, I guess the best way that I can describe it is, yeah, it is a Microsoft product, and it's it really is. It's Facebook for companies, so it's like they call it enterprise social networking. So it's a closed social network, so it's just for the people in the company, and the idea is that you sort of use it a bit like Facebook. So lots of companies have kind of gone and bought Yammer, maybe without talking to the actual users that are going to use Yammer. It's kind of just, oh, it's an enterprise social network and it's another social media. Let's get one of those. And it might not always be the best thing to do. So yeah, and it can also, sometimes it's a bit jumping on the bandwagon. You know, oh, they've got that, we better get that too. I hear that, you know, UQ's got that, or I hear that a different library's got that. We better buy this because that's what everybody's doing. And then you don't really get the use from the technology. Yes. The Yammer, we were just saying the boss's quote of the week for 3 weeks, and then even the boss kind of gives up. So really, I guess the idea is that libraries and information organisations, they should really be focused on creating good content and creating content that's going to be useful to people rather than just getting some new toys. Like, new toys are exciting. Who doesn't like some bright, shiny things? But probably not that useful in the long run. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just going to walk you through some definitions of what a program, product and service is. So a program's a planned series of events, a set of long-term measures or activities with a long-term aim. So a program can be something, we tend to think of them as something offline, like something, you know, in person. You come to a program, to a series of events that we attend, but it can also be, like, you can have online programs as well. So it's just, that's a program. A product is, that's just definition is an article or substance manufactured or refined for sale. So with us, products aren't always going to be for sale. It could be for loan. So in libraries, our products, I guess, would be our collection. That's the products that we've got. We're offering our collection, not usually for sale. And in something like an information organisation, it could be something like a system that you're setting up to help somebody. So that type of thing would be a product. And then a service. So this action of process of serving, so an active assistant. That's, we're sort of talking about the first half of the definition here. So the service, we're providing a service. And I think in libraries or in any information organisation, I think that, in my opinion, we're a customer service industry. We're about customers, and I think that if you think something different, then you might be, I would argue that you're mistaken. We're a customer service. We're providing information. We're linking customers to information, so we're giving customers service. Even if you think about a cataloger in a library, so sometimes, customer service in a library isn't just me checking out a book or giving you a book. Even someone like a cataloger in a library that might never go on the desk and hand anybody a book is sitting down in just cataloguing information. They're actually still giving customer a service because they're not cataloguing it just for fun. Maybe some of them are cataloguing just for fun. But they're cataloguing it so that you can find it. Like they're creating the information and the metadata about it so it's easier to find. So we're all trying to create a service. So does anybody have any thoughts about that, about libraries and information? Feel free to disagree with me. Deathly silent? Okay. Sorry, I'm just quickly jumping out of Collaborate for a second because I've just realised I forgot to start the Echo 360 backup recording in case Collaborate falls out. Oh, so sorry everyone for the break here. Well, let's go for 180. Okay, sorry. Oh, where's Collaborate gone? We'll go back. All right, so that's the definitions of, that's the definition. Okay, and Kate's handled those ones in Collaborate, so that's all good. Okay. So does everyone understand sort of like there's programs, products and services and kind of get what they are? Yep. Okay. So that's the theory. So what does this actually mean in practice? So to give you an example from QUT Library, so a program at QUT Library could be a library class. So a library class would be, you can go for those EndNote EndNote 1, EndNote 2, you can learn how to use EndNote. So that's a program that QUT Library is offering, and they do the same sort of thing for HDR students around using in vivo and all different things. So that's a program that they're offering. A product would be something like an ebook or a physical book from the collection, or even something like a library guide. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but they're guides created, subject guides basically on the website. So that's a product at QUT Library. And a service at QUT Library would be something like study solutions. So study solutions are individual appointments where you go in and see an academic skills advisor and get help writing essays or doing whatever you need to do. So that's sort of to give you an example of how it would be like in a QUT Library sense. So that's the difference. So that's the theory. So in practice, what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to create a list of programs, products and services. And collaborate. You guys can do this at home as well. So in groups, in your table groups, and if you guys want to join together to make it easier, I'm sorry, I realise you've just come in. What I want you to do is I'm going to give you a list of information services, and what I want you to do is make a list of, make a list of products, services, or programs that you think that organisation could offer. So I'm going to give you some pens and paper, and I'm just going to give you some different contexts of what you can be. So this group over here, you can be a information and referral service for new migrants. If you guys want to be a small country public library service, do you guys want to be the corporate library at the local council? So that's the corporate library, the internal library that are just serving the council staff? Yep. Okay, and you guys over there, do you want to be an academic library? Sure. Okay, and the fun thing is you need to create a list of, as I said, products, programs and services. I'm going to keep on tripping over that the whole night. And I want you to find a list one of every letter of the alphabet. So a product, program or service, A-B, like from A to Z. Okay, so I'll give you some paper and pens and collaborate if you guys want to do that at home. If you guys want to be the library at a TAFE, you guys can be a TAFE library or a vocational institution. And I'm going to give these guys here about 15 minutes to do it. So get working.
So those of you who can collaborate, I just wanted to check if you want to do this working together or if you want to independently come up with a list. So votes for together or votes for doing it on your own. Together? Cool. Okay, awesome. So just give me about 2 minutes to set up the screen so that we can all start dumping ideas on there, and then we'll go. So collaborate, I might just turn the microphone onto mute for the next 10 or 15 minutes. So if you can't hear me, that's why. I'll just leave you guys to do that, but I'll still be watching what you're doing if you need me. Okay, Okay guys, I'm going to put a link in the chat for you, and I'll get you to open up that page, and it is what we call a Padlet wall. And this is a space where we can all add ideas and thoughts together on a single screen. I'll pop the context up on the Padlet wall for you, and I was going to share the screen on my computer, but you can actually see it on your own dynamically, so that might be the best way to do it. If you need to get my attention in the next 15 minutes, can you please use the raise hand icon? That will make a ding, and I'll know to come back to the Collaborate session and off the Padlet wall to see where you're up to. And yes, we're making a list of programs, products or services offered in a vocational or TAFE library. Okay. Okay, so to use Padlet, you just simply double-click anywhere on the screen, and you can then add in your item. So let's start with, I'm going to start with I, and I'm going to write an information literacy program. So that's I. So we want to do this for every letter of the alphabet. We want to come up with a program, product or service in this context or of a vocational or TAFE library. So just double click anywhere you like, and we can start adding things in. Oh wait, I don't think I gave you edit rights. Hang on 1 second. Oh no, I did. You're good. Excellent. Orientation. And I'm going to call that orientation rather than library orientation, so that it counts for the O, not the L. So let's go for a bit of specificity. If we're listing workshops, what kinds of workshops might they be? Excellent. If you would like to have a crack at it, you could also just, you could add in the text underneath the red heading whether you think it's a program, a product or a service, just like has been done with the computer access service. So just some clarification on the library desk system online. Is this where you can ask a virtual reference question, perhaps? We might call that virtual reference service. And the academic staff contact details, are these for contacts for liaison librarians, or can I get a bit more information on that one? You'll also notice if you're writing something lengthy that sometimes the Padlet item will flip off the screen, but you can resize things just by dragging them in. So now that we're starting to get a few things on the screen, I am going to start moving things around so that we can get an impression of the letters that we've got covered. So I'm going to grab that job search one and move it. Whoops. So don't panic if yours disappears, it's just that I'm moving things around a little bit. And you notice I'm moving some off to the right-hand side, and those are just ones that I want to get a little bit more clarification on. So I think Boolean inquiry skills might be training, I think. So that's a program. So we'll pop it over on the left-hand side. Okay, F. Who's got an F? Oh, sorry, Kathy, I just saw your question now. Are you able to get into the Padlet and do some, put some ideas up? Cool, great. Did anyone come up with anything for an F? Yep, I'll go with free stuff. I'll take that. Can we elaborate on free stuff? Okay, I'm going to put a G up, and I'm going to be reasonably cheeky with my G, and I'm going to call it Doodle feeding. Sorry. Anybody got an H? Help. Excellent. For K, I'm going to write kits, which might be those kinds of kits that education students use for stories and supplies to go with them. So maybe story kits, which would be a product. Have we got an L anywhere? Yes, liaison librarian. Okay, I think Kathleen's turning her mic back on, so I'm going to stop talking.
Hear me again? Yep. No one give me a smiley. Perfect. Okay, so time's up. Did everyone have fun doing that? Fun? Was that stretching it? No, everyone's smiling at this table and someone in Collaborate used the word fun. Okay, so now which group wants to share their list first? Anyone? No volunteers? Yes, who wants to just come up and share their list first? Or I'll actually come across to your table with the microphone and then you guys can talk into it so everyone can collaborate. Everyone can hear. So I'll come across to... Is the sound back on? Does that come back now? Okay, it's all right. That was just me. That was user error, I believe it's called. Okay, so I'm going to come across to this table over here, and they're just going to go through their what they had and what they came up with. All right. So if I stick the microphone in the middle of the table, anyone doesn't come to the front of the classroom, but you can if you want to. So, do you want to tell us what your service was and what you came up with?
Okay, so we had information and referral service for new migrants.
Yeah.
And we were a little bit confused, to begin with, about what that meant. But I guess it's just like a place where we had sorry. Oh no, not the mic. Okay. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so just like a little bit of a community where people can go and yeah, provided with programs, products and services. So for programs, we thought language classes, Australian socialisation classes, or we kind of thought maybe just in terms of Australian socialisation, kind of like discussions on Australian culture and that kind of thing. IT programs, financial management classes, mentoring programs, and employment programs. Products, we thought pamphlets for like locations in Brisbane or wherever you're living.
So like maps to kind of
Yeah.
say this is where they're okay.
Or pamphlets on anything really. Online websites, you know, providing lists of medical centres and that kind of thing. Centrelink information products, question and answer applications. Oh, sorry, question and answer apps that you could get on your phone. Which was your idea. Books, entertainment, where to eat, those sorts of things. Services, we thought translation services, one-on-one tutoring, counselling services, computer kiosks, online chat services, just for general queries, which kind of ties into that Q&A app, that we thought of. Cultural and community get-togethers, and career advice. So yeah, not alphabetical. But.
No, that's okay. We've got
Trying to make it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they got those guys. That was the information referral service for new migrants, and I think they pretty much got most of the alphabet in there with some pretty good services. So that was. Oh, and xylophone training. Well, I think that's something that everybody needs, not just new migrants. That was really good. Thank you, guys. All right, so who's going to grab the microphone at this table? Everyone jump up at once. I'll put it in the middle.
Okay.
So what was your...
We were doing the public library. Yeah, we're doing a country public library, and so we didn't get all of the alphabet for all of the. So, but we did get. So for our programs we went through. So we sort of thought authors talks. So maybe there'll be travelling authors talks. Provide a program where the library is some sort of community hub, you know, so provide different activities for the community hub. Then there might be bushfire awareness programs depending on where they're playing. Yeah, so and then there could be a government services program where, you know, you can buy your rego, you can buy your business sort of thing, register your business and all sorts of those sorts of government services. Local history service, people might be interested in researching local history and things like that. Indigenous literary program where, you know, if there's, depending on where it is. Local services, depending on what sort of where your country is, and community meeting rooms. Technology services and weather information programs, sort of things, sort of providing. My father-in-law was a cane farmer, and he was obsessed by all of the clouds. So we sort of, with the products, we said books, DVD, books, journals, maps, magazines, movies, newspapers, and toys in the kids' literacy area, sort of thing. And then for services, we've got maybe after-school care. I don't know, you know, I'm not sure if librarians would like to be sort of put in that sort of situation. A broadband service, like a music, you know, Freegal music service, health and immunisation, where, you know, the immunisation groups come to town and immunise all people that are loaning books, and mobile library, where the go out to different places, online services, online information service, so helping people sort of do, if they don't have broadband to their homes or their farms or whatever, pest information, playroom, and we've got the Xeno journal service, but we're not sure that they had enough money.
That was a really good list, and country public libraries they, like you guys, you know, really nailed it, because they really are a community hub, because, you know, they're the one sort of, sometimes the one building in town where everybody can get to and everybody can do those different things. So, and I think especially with the local history, that's a big thing for local public libraries, because people tend to donate things there or give them there, or they know a lot of history about the area that maybe the bigger libraries wouldn't tend to collect. But in those local history, they're really interested in those stories. And State Library of Queensland's doing stuff with History Pin, just at the moment, just tying in with that. So you guys have probably seen all the stuff about World War I, the 100 years since World War I and all the events. So does anyone use HistoryPin or has seen it? It's a really great site, but SLQ and HistoryPin, what HistoryPin is, if you haven't seen it, is it's like a map. It's called HistoryPin. Yep. And so you pin a photo onto a map, and then there's information about the photo. So SLQ are getting local communities around Queensland to tell their own stories of World War I by using HistoryPin. So you could go to Laidley or Roma and zoom in on the map and see the images there. So just another way of thinking about World War I, because obviously we all know the story of Gallipoli and things like that, but there's a different story of World War I back on the home front. And so that's, like with the local history thing, SLQ ties in really nicely with things like that. So, well, it's kind of like Google Maps, but with your pin images. Yeah, so it's really good. Oh, and there you go. And so Kate's saying there's a series of tweets from SLQ. Yes, they're doing a lot of stuff around World War I, so if you're interested in any of that sort of stuff, keep your eye on what they're doing. So sorry for that little segue, but anyway, we'll come back to the next one. So you guys had academic library.
No.
Oh, sorry, corporate library.
Well, for those who didn't hear, it was a corporate library of the Brisbane City Council, and it's serving the ministers of the council. And we're developing the programs, products and services, and for programs, generally it's training, mostly for software and social media. Probably arguably the most important aspects of the 21st century. Then products, well, there's databases of maps and plans. Then there's books, ebooks, perhaps DVDs, certainly community reports as well, and services. Well, we've got the RSS, research and media monitoring. Anything else to add?
It was a difficult topic. We did our best, but we focused on what we could provide to members of the council, as opposed to being across the entire council and all of its departments.
Yeah, and that's probably a much better idea. Everyone else could just Google it. Okay, and then you guys had, this must have been the academic library. Oh, bless you. So who's going to grab the microphone now? It's like a mad dash for it, collaborate people. It's like taking a specky at the MCG, they're all dying.
Okay, so we had the academic library in a research-intensive institution. So we did focus on like a QUT-based library. So basically, for the products, we had the library databases, the physical catalogue. We had the study research or lab areas where people can go and study, and there's a newspapers on QUT where you can physically go and get those. For the programs, we had the library orientations at the beginning of the semester, academic conferences, the TEDx talks that you could have based around the academic, the researchers around the library. And then for the services, we kind of had the academic help, the reference desk, chat to a librarian, the Twitter feeds on how the researchers could use the library, and then the academic librarians who can basically help them as well. So.
That's great. Thank you. And I think you've hit on something there when you're talking about the researchers and the social media, because that's, I know, an area that a lot of academic libraries are moving into, training researchers in using social media and trying to connect with their researchers that way. So yeah, that's a really big kind of thing in libraries at the moment. And Collaborate, does somebody from Collaborate want to turn their microphone on and tell us what you guys had, and I'll turn mine off?
I'm not going to do it, but I will just tell you that if you click on that link in the chat, you'll see our Padlet wall where we've dumped all of our ideas. And now I'm going to turn my microphone off and let somebody else do the talking. Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. All right, so I've got the Padlet up in Collaborate, so we can have a look what these guys, so these guys had the TAFE library. Oh, go away that one. So they did a Padlet wall where they've written everything up. So we can kind of, we can have a look at theirs. So what have these guys got? So all different kits, mature age students, self-checkout. What's an extreme research assistant? Can anyone in Collaborate tell me? Is that just something you've made? Is that like a, I know, but that's what I want to know. Extreme, like is that extreme? They bungee jump while they help you with their research? Like that? I'm just wondering what an extreme research assistant is. No one's telling me. Okay, so internet access, interlibrary loans, self-checkout. Okay, cool. So they're all very good. Google seeding. Oh, Kate thinks it's extreme creativity with words, the extreme extreme research assistant. But I actually quite like the name, you know, so we could do something with that. All right. Okay, so we'll go back to Collaborate. Oh, sorry, Collaborate's just, perfect. All right. So that's kind of just a bit of an exercise to get you thinking. So are there any questions at this stage about products, programs, services, or does that, hopefully that exercise kind of helped you guys think, you know, about all the different things that libraries or information services can do rather than just the traditional books and things. Okay, so at this point I can either give you, we can have like a 5-minute break here, or I can do the beginning of the next lecture and we can break in half an hour. What would everybody prefer? Do you want to start the next lecture, because we've only been going for an hour, so do you want me to keep on going for another half an hour? Or? Yep, okay, cool. Keep going, that seems to be the consensus. Sorry, excuse me. So what we're going to talk about now, the second lecture, is the 2.0 meme and the participatory organisation. And I'm guaranteeing you during this lecture I'll try to say participatory and something else will come out, because if you say, it's one of those words, if you say too many times, like red lorry, yellow lorry, you're guaranteed to slip up on that. Okay, so there's 3 obvious, Web 2.0 for information professionals. So there's 3 obvious topics for discussion. Web 2.0, what is it? Who cares? What are the tools? Library or enterprise or information service 2.0, what is it? Who cares? How does it relate to technology? And personal learning networks. So we'll be having a look at all of those things. And the learning outcomes, we want to just get a shared understanding of the term Web 2.0, develop an understanding of 2.0 tool categories and the tools that fall within them, make the link between Web 2.0 and library or enterprise 2.0, discover how these terms are related and how they might differ, and just develop a bit of an understanding of the challenges of implementing a participatory library. I think I've said it 5 times now and I've managed to get it right every time. Okay. So first of all, why are we still talking about Web 2.0? I'm sure there are people in this room that are going, oh, really, Web 2.0? Like, have we not moved on from here? I think some people are saying we've got Library 3.0. Sorry. Good, because I was like that. I didn't know what Web 2.0 is. So I know that there will be some people that have heard it 1,000 times, and some people that are now talking about the, you know, the semantic web and the Internet of Things, and there's lots of different ways, but we're going to come back to Web 2.0. Okay, so why are we still talking about it? Because it really has changed the way that information flows. It changes the way that we receive and send and interact with information in a lot of different ways. It changes the way we find it, the way we experience it. Social media, you know, it still is a relatively new thing, and Web 2.0 has changed things. And information has become, I think Web 2.0 has helped maybe create an understanding that information is more than just text. Information, videos, it's images, it's anything that actually informs you. And so I think it's important to discuss it from those aspects. And there are also, there's still constraints in organisations, many organisations, when it comes to using a lot of Web 2.0 tools. So we might think that it's a given that you can use all these Web 2.0 tools, but it's actually not. There's many organisations where you're kind of constrained into what you can and can't use and how you can use these tools. And also it's good to look at it because just because we might know what it is and we might not be using it very well. Okay. So in groups, the first thing that I'm just going to get you to do is what do you what do you think Web 2.0 is? So what do you think, like if you've heard the buzzword or you know, what do you actually think that it is? And there's no right or wrong or anything like that. So when you hear the term Web 2.0, what does it make you think of? And we don't even have to do it in groups. Does anyone want to, or anyone in Collaborate want to offer a definition? Okay, so we've had in the room a progression from Web 1.0, yes. Talitha's saying interaction, so that's a good word. I think interaction is a great way to describe it. Has anyone else got? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so in the classroom, people in Collaborate, we've just had a bit of a suggestion that it's about making the web easier for people to code and people to be able to use. And then we've had another suggestion in Collaborate that it's about collaboration. Participatory internet, that was one that's just come out in the classroom. That's fantastic. And Kate Davis, I really like this, Kate, democratising the web. I think you put democratising in because you were hoping that I would be able to say the word. It was participatory. Yep, so we've just had some examples. Wikipedia, YouTube. Yeah, Facebook, yeah. And what? Yeah, so we've just had a suggestion in the classroom that it's about the reliance that we've all got and the way that we use it all the time. We're always connected to it and doing stuff with it and tweeting and Facebooking and all that sort of thing. So it's Pinterest, making the web more interactive. All it keeps coming back to that. Does anyone have anything else? Any other good words? No? So we're all kind of happy with. Okay, so that was in Collaboration here. It's the new way of getting information. So it's changing the way that we get information. Instead of having old sources, we're getting new sources of information. Yeah, okay. The participatory web, populate the web, the cloud. Yes, we have to have the cloud. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I've just repeated that for the people in Collaborate, that it's personal as well as on a wider scale. So it's personal because you've got your phone in your diary, and I am wearing a Fitbit for people that can't see it. I'm right into the quantified self whole thing. So it's just a little aside about me. Yeah, so it's getting your own personal. It's personal as well as being bigger picture. So that's kind of what we're pretty happy with. So I think that's everyone's got a pretty good idea about what it's all about. It's exciting. So let's define it technically, and in the spirit of Web 2.0, we're better to turn than Wikipedia. Wikipedia will tell us everything, and I actually really like Wikipedia as well. So this is an old Wikipedia definition, but I like this old Wikipedia definition before people went in and edited the content. So it's describing the changing trends in the use of World Wide Web technology and web design that aim to enhance creativity, information sharing, collaboration, and the functionality of the web. So I think that's a really nice way to define it. And as we said, and I think we got a lot of that in when we were talking, people were talking about information sharing, collaboration, the different functionality of the web, so it's not so hard to code. Everything's just gotten easier. And we talked about all the things that it's given us, like social networking sites, wikis, blogs, all those sort of things. So we probably could have written this definition for Wikipedia ourselves. And now we'll just, so that's sort of the broad definition of Web 2.0. And now we're just going to go into the principles of Web 2.0-ness, which are the web as a platform, harnessing collective intelligence, data is the next Intel Inside, end of the software release cycle, lightweight programming models, software above the level of a single device, and rich user experiences. So, and as this slide says, which means what exactly? So the first, one of the things about Web 2.0 is the web is a platform. So we've got web-based applications and applications that can be used on a web with no software downloaded. So when we talk about the web as a platform, I remember when I was young that you would go, now I can just go into Google Docs and I can write a doc with, write a document and you can all share it. Whereas not so long ago, I'd go to Harvey Norman and buy it in a box and come home and do things like that. So you still can go to Harvey Norman and buy things in boxes, but the web has become much more of a platform. You don't need to do that. So that's the web as a platform. Yes, yep, yeah, open source software, all that type of thing. So the web's become a platform. It's not so, you don't have to, as I said, you don't have to go to Harvey Norman and buy it in a box, which is nice. Yep, Google Docs and all those types of things. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, the web is a platform now. You're not restricted. If you've got access to the internet, you can create those type of things. So it's become a platform for doing things. So the next principle is harnessing collective intelligence. So the wisdom of the masses, two heads are better than one, communities as co-creators and collaborators. So that's, I guess the best example of that is Wikipedia, which I don't know if everyone else loves Wikipedia as much as I do. Sorry? Oh, good. You like Wikipedia. Got another Wikipedia fan here. Haggle? Oh, I haven't heard of that one. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, we're talking about other sites that harness that collection. The wisdom of the masses. And it's the whole idea. There was a study done, I think it's a couple of years old now, that they might have redone it about, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it or read it. They compared the accuracy of Wikipedia to Encyclopedia Britannica, and Wikipedia came up trumps. Yes. Yes, and we've just had somebody say that, it's very true. It's collective, it's the power of editing. And yes. I actually think that's the best definition I've just heard. I'm going to repeat that. There's enough obsessives out there that want to make sure it's right. And I think that's really true, because I'm not going to go in and hack a page about Socrates for fun, because you know what I mean? Like, I can think of other things to do. But people that are very passionate about topics will want to know about Socrates being, I don't even know when he was born. But, they will know the exact date. Yes, and you have to cite your sources and you can't cite yourself. So do have all those things in place. And I actually, Wikipedia is great. And I got to hear I can't remember her name now, the lady that used to head up Wikimedia Australia, the Wikimedia Foundation. Anyway, she was amazing to hear her talk. But she was saying that, because people go, oh, Wikipedia, that's not trustworthy, rah, rah. But she said the main forms of people trying to hack articles is like school kids writing poo and bum and trying to get things like that. So it really is, and they've got, the Wikipedia's got filters it so that, if you write you're a poo bum, it's not even going to get there. So that's most of the type of people that are going to try and hack Wikipedia. It's not the people that are going to, because like you say, people are going to argue about the day that somebody died and all those things. Yes, they do. Yeah, but you're right. We're talking about how they've got. No, that's very true. We're talking about how they're saying, that Wikipedia will tell you if an article is contested, and that isn't in an encyclopedia. You're quite right. So, yeah, and Wikipedia does have its problems in that it sometimes can be very. There's a problem with gender bias and things in Wikipedia sometimes, but it's still it's better than having just one person in an office writing Encyclopedia Britannica. No. Yeah, I think we just had a question in the classroom about the regulations when it first came in, and I think they were laxer. But I think as more and more people have gotten interested in using it and started putting information on there, I think that just naturally it's gotten tighter and tighter. And there are people that are really invested in editing Wikipedia articles, like they love it. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay. Couldn't cope with it. Wow, we're just having we're having a discussion in the classroom. That is really interesting about our Wikipedia moderator being banned because they kept on changing the Chelsea. Is it Manning? Yeah, Chelsea Manning. Yes, and they're changing it. Yeah, a transgender woman, and somebody kept on changing the pronoun back to he. Yeah, so one of the editors was doing that. Yeah. Yep. Wow, and I guess that really is, if they're banning people about that, that really sort of does show you the power of the masses, that people will say, hey, that's not okay. So. Yeah, we've just had a discussion with Collaborate, just talking about how Wikipedia's got all the good citations at the bottom for when you start your assignment and people won't accept Wikipedia, which is really true. And there's just a question in Collaborate. Do people think Google will eventually replace Wikipedia? Does anyone? No.
Google is how you find Wikipedia
articles. The feeling in the classroom is Google is just for finding something to replace Wikipedia. I think Google's got all the money. I mean, Wikipedia is a charity. It's not for profit. Yeah, not charity. Sorry, I should clarify that. Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, and there are a lot of people that really are very passionate about freedom of information. So I don't think Wikipedia is going to go away anywhere soon. Well, hopefully not, because then I wouldn't know how to, Google things late at night to find out about what these red spots on my child's face mean. Okay, so the next one that we're going to talk about, the next one is data is the next Intel Inside. So this just basically means that data is the next power. Everyone's laptop used to have Intel Inside. Now data is where it's at. Big data. Data ownership is where the big money is. Did anyone see George Brandis talking about metadata and data? That was just, I was like, oh my goodness. That was really interesting, but that just shows you how much we're talking about data and metadata. So yeah, obviously data is what companies want. They want to know about you. Think about how much, we just talked about Google and things. Like, how much information does Google have about me from my searching habits? That data is what they want so that they can sell me, and will often successfully sell to me, certain products because they know that I want to buy them. So data is where the money is. And if you think about, Facebook, their targeted ads down the side, and there's all that data that they have that they are using. So data is the big thing as well. And I guess that also raises questions I always think about: how happy are we to be giving this data away? Like, I think different people have different levels of what they're happy to share when it comes to giving their data to companies. I heard something on, I don't know if anyone listens to Download This Show. It's a Radio National show, but it's about technology. And they want, there was a Coles, so the supermarkets, who I think already do car insurance, are thinking of doing home loans and life insurance because they can link it to your groceries. Because if you buy groceries at 2 a.m. and buy pizza and ice cream, then I'm going to charge you more for health insurance than if you shop during the day and buy carrots and broccoli, because you're or I guess, if you're a smoker, they can sting you. But what if you're having a big party and go and buy, I don't know, I just thought that was really interesting. It's really invasive, and there's a big problem. I mean, I personally think that that's pretty invasive, but a lot of, how often do you read terms of service, and like, do you just click on the box and go, yeah, we give our data away. Well, I guess if everything links, but the Flybuys card at Coles, if you link it to that, I don't know, but I'm sure there'd be a way to do it. Like, they would link it all together, because if they, yeah, but I'm sure there'd probably be some kind of linking thing where they said, yeah, if you swipe your card when you buy your groceries, you'll get $10 off your premium, and yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting way to use data. Sorry, Sandra. Yeah, and that's, yeah. Yeah, so we're just having this discussion in the classroom about how Sandra was saying that when she, she gets emails and saying that she buys a lot of is on sale, but she hasn't signed up for an email, and it's just those Flybuys cards. So it's all that information about data and who owns the data, and is it ours, and are we just giving it away for, it is our data, but we seem to be, some people seem to be very happy to sign it away, other people don't. Yeah, well, I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't understand how it could be used, but hopefully George Brandis stumbling across every second word will make people be aware of what data is. Yes. Yeah, we were just saying in the classroom that Malcolm Turnbull was his interpreter this morning. Yes, so I just think that's really interesting with data. And also, we're talking about big data in probably perhaps the not most friendly way there. But there's also some really good ways to use data. If you have got a massive data set, and not about if you buy Coke or nappies or whatever you buy at the shops. But there is some really information like open government data. People have done some really interesting things with that, but they can reuse data in different ways. Some really interesting stuff has come out. So there are big data sets that are good. So data is really good. And you can reuse it and, as I said, do different things with it. Okay. Yep, so Sharon's saying could give consumers, I'll just see if I can go up a bit. Sorry. Could give consumers more of a say on social issues by the choices they make, for instance, to buy fair trade. Okay, so that must be coming back to the Coles thing. Okay, so everyone's got a digital footprint about that. So Kate just asked how they feel about their data being exploited. How do people actually feel? You fine? Do people here fine with their data, No? So we've got a bit of a... Oh my. Wow. Wow. Well, I've got a picture for Collaborate. There was a girl that was pregnant and her parents didn't know and was looking at baby stuff online, and then Target helpfully sent her some brochures about baby stuff, and her father complained, and they said, well, we've got it off your online information. So it's really, really interesting.
And they go, I need to talk to your parents to make sure that, you're allowed to be doing it. And make mum and dad do it right. And they've got to give their birthday, a whole bunch of information to prove they are who they say they are. And then these people tell them, give them this information of what to do next. And they just go, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'll send you that to my daughter. But, at the end of the day, we believe that a lot of people wish that we've got so much privacy, there's no privacy anymore. Everyone pretty much knows everything. And at the end of the day, what does it really matter?
Yeah, and we're just having a discussion in the classroom about whether it matters giving away this, you know, have we already got it? And what were you going to say, sorry? Mm. Yes. So this is an interesting, we're just having a conversation in the classroom about tap and go because it's quicker, so it's ease versus privacy. Yeah, well that's ease versus privacy. But I think like, but if you look at, but I think that ease versus privacy thing, like Kate has outed herself here as preferring Amazon to, here we go. She buys from Amazon instead of borrowing from the library, so she's outed that, you know. I'm only joking because Amazon knows what you've read, and it's easier to buy a book, and libraries don't necessarily. Yeah, and so that's another case of going, well, I don't care if you've got my privacy because you're making it easier for me to get the book, so whatever. No, you're all right. Yeah, it's interesting. And what were you going to say, sorry? Okay, so that was interesting. We've just had a comment in the classroom that people need to be educated and set their own boundaries and figure out where your privacy level is. And I think we all have one. What were you? They're only explaining it to me, so this person's not even going anywhere. People have looked at it and torn it apart and put it all back together. They're not okay. Yeah. There are those privacy laws in place who do come to people companies selling your data and stuff like that. Most of the stuff that's happening with data is really just putting it right back at you and saying, you like this. Yeah, and Sandra's just, yeah, Facebook's bad. Yeah. Yeah, so Sandra's just said, you know, that it's not a problem because they're just selling it back to you, and we've had some other discussions, and I think, yes, yeah. So if you buy, you know, petrol, groceries, you know, medication, you know, from the one company, it's letting more information about you. Do you really want them to know more about you? So if you then decide to get a home with them or something else, I think it's a. I think that's, yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting thing where we're saying about what they would want to know and where they could use that information. And nobody would ever loan money to me because I am addicted to sugar. So they would go, this lady eats so many jelly snakes that she must have diabetes. But just to turn this on its head a bit, so we've looked at it that way, but what do you think about, and this is the conversation in Collaborate, libraries are not very good at exploiting data. We could have a lot of data on customers, so a library could effectively be Amazon and say, you've borrowed 6 books on how to grow herbs. We think you'd like Jamie Oliver's herb cooking book, and send you an email. Libraries don't traditionally do that. They don't usually keep your borrowing records, so libraries aren't very good at keeping your data. Well, we would do it, so, okay, so the library, sorry, I've just had a question about circulation and the collection. So the library would base its collection decision on So for an academic library, for an academic library, for example, you'd base it on the faculties, you get recommendations from your lecturers, and you look at your circulation statistics. So that'll tell you the Guide to Phenomenology has been borrowed 25 times. Yeah, but we're not analysing it about you. So that's a sort of, we just know the book's heavily used. We don't know that you're using it. So we're keeping data but in a different way. Does that make sense? So we can't personalise it. So what you say? Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yep. Yes. Yeah, and I think that's interesting. We've just had a discussion in the classroom about how, you know, libraries collect in a different way. You can be browsing the catalogue but not be signed in. But there's just, you know, there's just a different way, I think, for libraries to exploit the data that they don't traditionally use. And it's not a question of is it good or bad. I think it's just something that I wanted people to think about. Sorry, what were you going to say? Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. Mm. And that's the other distinction. We've just had the distinction that Amazon's a company and libraries are not. Well, we are, but we're not non-for-profit. We're not-for-profit. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So the next one is the next principle of 2.0ness is the end of the software cycle release. So everything's just in perpetual beta. So nothing's ever perfect. You don't wait for things to be perfect before you release them. Google for years and years used to have the little beta thing because it was still in testing. Like theoretically, lots of things that we use are still in testing because your users are giving you information and helping you, like users as co-developers. So that's the next principle. The next one is lightweight programming models, so syndication, remixability, loosely coupled systems. Then software above the level of a single device. So, device agnostic software. So creating a product or service that actually works across different devices. So if you think about the difference between, like if you've got an Android phone and a iPad, you know, different apps, you know, there's different apps, there's different things. They don't all, no, they don't talk to each other. They don't play nicely. They, you know, there's not that kind of thing. So it's about software, you know, software that needs to work across a variety of devices. And that even comes down to things like, you know, like sometimes when you go onto a website and they don't have a mobile version, so you're trying to look at, you know, you're trying to like zoom in on your phone, but because it won't, they don't have a web version, like, sorry, a mobile version of their site. They've just got the web version and you can't read it. Ah, you're on your mobile site. Yeah. Yes. Okay. And we just had someone saying that they're different. You know, it's a different experience on your laptop than it is on your phone. I think with everything, really. Big screen. Yeah. So we're just saying the Brisbane City Council website, library website. Yeah, and I can't read that. Like, you know, I can't do it. Okay, and then the last principle. The last one is, sorry, Rust principle of 2.0ness is rich user experiences. So the role of the user is much richer. Users don't just passively consume information; they build the web, and users are adding value all the time. So it's better users' experiences, and that's sort of technical and non-technical. So that's sort of taken us through the points of the the principles of 2.0ness. And what I might do now, because the next thing what we're going to do, sort of move on to another section, is we're going to talk about which ones of those are key. But it's 6:30 now, And I'm conscious that we've been here for an hour and a half. Does everybody just want to have a quick break and get up and grab a drink or something? So is that okay with you guys in Collaborate? We're just going to have a 10 minutes. Is that enough time? Yeah, everyone's happy with that? So we'll just have a 10-minute break, Collaborate. I'll just turn my microphone off so that you can't hear me talking. If you lose sound for 10 minutes, that's why. Ta.
Did someone put their hand up? Did you have a question or a comment?
Okay, so Collaborate, can you guys hear me? Is everyone back in Collaborate? Yep, perfect. Okay, so we might just, all right, so is everyone right to go? Keep on trucking? Hopefully we can get out of here before 9 o'clock. That's my aim. Okay, so we just went through all those things about Web 2.0-ness. So that's a whole lot of words. Which ones are key? So these are key principles of Web 2.0, and these are according to Kate. So her key principles of Web 2.0 is that it's a read-write web. It's a two-way medium. It's got user-generated content, the wisdom of the masses, co-creation, collaboration and communication, remixability, web-based applications, perpetual beta, or the end of the cult of perfect, and participation. So that's kind of all those things singled down to the key principles. So how does Web 2.0 differ from Web 1.0? So if Web 1.0 is, we take that to mean web as an information source, then Web 2.0 has moved on to web as a participation platform. So in a nutshell, Web 2.0 could be seen as the participatory web. And I'm going to read you something now. Web 2.0 is written about just using some really evocative terms. So this is actually from 2006, but I think it's still really relevant. So this is about Web 2.0. So it's a story about community and collaboration on a scale never seen before. It's about the cosmic compendium of knowledge, Wikipedia, and the million channels People's Network, YouTube, and the online metropolis, MySpace. Well, obviously it's not MySpace anymore. It's about the many wresting power from the few and helping one another for nothing, and how that will not only change the world, but also change the way the world changes. The tool that makes this possible is the World Wide Web. Not the web that Tim Berners-Lee hacked together about 15 years ago as a way for scientists to share research. It's not even the overhyped .com web of the late 1990s. The new web is a very different thing. It's a tool for bringing together the small contributions of millions of people and making them matter. Silicon Valley consultants call it Web 2.0 as if it were a new version of some old software. But it's really a revolution. So that's someone talking about Web 2.0, and that someone was Time. So in 2006, that was what Time was saying about Web 2.0. And I don't know if anyone ever saw that Time magazine, but that cover was a mirror, it was reflective. So you know how they do Person of the Year every year? So you were the Person of the Year, and they use that language about it, Web 2.0 because it's the year of you, and how Web 2.0, they've really. You could technically put there that you were Web, Times Web Person of the Year, because if you think about those words I just used, there's the revolution. It's all these things. It's the many wresting power from the few. And this is 2006 Times talking about Web 2.0, which I just think is really, really interesting language to use. They're saying it's a revolution. It's changed everything. So what do you guys think? Is it, like, that's from 2006. What do you guys think? Do you think time we're onto something? Like, you know, using all that language, do you think it's something halfway? Is all this information actually any good? You know, now we hear all this stuff about information overload. There's too much information. I can't, like, it's all just, the information that's coming out is just rubbish. There's all these different thoughts. So does anyone have any thoughts? Okay. Yeah, okay, so we've got someone in the classroom saying that they think time will bang on the money. Yeah, there's 1 billion people on Facebook, but it really has been all the things Time said. So yeah, what do you think?
I think one of the interesting parts is actually the finance sort of where, you know, back then you have to pay someone to build your website.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. It's more, yeah. Yes. Okay. So we're just having a really good comment in the classroom about how it's one thing that's changed is the money. You used to pay people to build your website, whereas now anyone can do it. Like there's Wix, there's WordPress. You can create your own site. It's democratic, yeah. Open source, all those type of things. Accessibility, yeah. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Yeah, we're just talking about ubiquitous access, you know, we're just talking about people in different places where you wouldn't expect them to have connection. I've got that. My dad went to Kenya last year. He's got a photo of a Maasai warrior in traditional dress with a mobile phone. And I was like, what is this, Dad? Did you, like, give this guy a phone for the picture? And Dad said, no, they're like, you know, so lots of people now, they're more ubiquitous. It's not perfect. So I just think that that's really interesting that we were using that language in 2006 and, you know, and has it delivered well. This is I'm sure everyone knows Arab Spring and everything that happened there. If you Google Arab Spring and social media, and you can do it now if you want, you'll see lots of people at Arab Spring were holding signs about Facebook and Twitter. You know, the revolution will be tweeted. I don't know if you saw that sign, and lots of things were organised by Twitter and Facebook. And this quote actually comes from an Egyptian activist, and I'm going to pronounce his name incorrectly, I'm sure, Wael Ghonim, and he said, if you want to liberate a people, give them the internet. So I think that that's a really, you know, maybe Web 2.0 has lived up to some of these things. Maybe it hasn't, and Catherine Hobson's just said, poor China. Yeah, and I guess that's true because you know, we're talking about people having this freedom, and it's not necessarily in every country. But I think that when we think about Web 2.0, it's important to think about all these different things and what it could promise, what it does deliver to some people, and what it doesn't deliver to others. Okay. So any questions so far? No, we're all good? Okay, so that's the theory of Web 2.0. So what about all the tools? So there's a few different categories for Web 2.0 tools, and these I've actually borrowed these from Kate. So these are based on Stephen Abrahams, and so just we're going to talk about some of the categories of social networking, social content, social collaboration, and social communication tools, and Web 2.0 tools. So let's go. So social networking tools. So key tools are MySpace. They keep on talking about a MySpace revival, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I actually heard something today about, you know, that Second Life? Apparently Second Life is going to come back. It's got like 1 million users, and apparently, It was apparently Second Life's coming back to life. I don't know. I'm going to believe it when I see it. But yeah, I'm also going to believe it when I see it if MySpace comes back. But social networking, things like Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Plus. I don't know. Does anyone use Google Plus? Is anyone on there? Has anyone consistently put an effort into using Google Plus? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the classic comment. None of my friends are on it. Google Plus was kind of, I don't know. I don't think it's going anywhere. Yeah, you reckon they give it up? Yeah, and I guess the other thing we were talking about before is Yammer. Like that's an enterprise social network. It's a closed social network. Like, and also like our site, like WordPress, BuddyPress. There's social networking tools. So they're sort of the key tools. About Twitter as a social networking tool, I think we're going to come to Twitter in a minute. So the next lot of tools are social content. So these are things like wikis, blogs, social bookmarking, RSS, mashups, photo sharing, so Flickr. I think Instagram's probably bigger than Flickr now. YouTube, podcasts, vodcasts, all those types of things, the social content tools. We're sort of looking at sharing more of, you're looking at content, but you're, obviously it's social, as the name implies. So then the next sort of category is social collaboration. So groupware, team spaces, so things like Google Apps, Zoho, so web-based document sharing, editing. We talked about Google Docs before. Google Calendar, file sharing. So Dropbox is massive. I love it. Project management tools, video conferencing. So all those tools for social collaboration that we work around. Okay, so Shannon, what are mashups? Okay, so mashups are where you take two different pieces of content and mash them together. And we'll be talking more about mashups. But a good example of mashups is something like if you take two, I don't know if you've seen the photos where they get, there's a great photos they did. They got images of what things look like just after, and I've got World War I in my mind because I've been speaking to the State Library. They got images of so they take a picture of a building in France as it looks like now, and they put the images of the troops that were in there, like what it would look like in modernity, so mixing those two photos together, or a picture of the rubble, the aftermath of war, and put, us all sitting around having a cup of tea in it. So mashups are putting those together. Oh, okay, the Japanese tsunami, did they? Oh. Yeah, okay. Yes, there would have been. The Japanese tsunami, we've just had a thing about the instantaneous and people taking pictures. They did that really good, was that with the iPads? Yeah, we just found out SLQ had one with the Brisbane floods where they did, so you could see if your house went underwater or. Yeah, they're doing it for lots of places. It's an interesting thing, and like you said, I actually saw one the other day. Gaza Strip embedded into Brisbane, like to see the distance, just to kind of put it in perspective. So that's mashup. Okay, so social communication. So that sort of stuff like audio conferencing, email, instant messaging, chat rooms, discussion lists. That's kind of Twitter. I'd say Twitter would sort of fit there. Microblogging. So that's sort of the social communication tools. Instant messaging, MSN, all that type of thing. Okay, so that's what Web.2 is. And library, enterprise, info organisation, whatever you want to call it, 2.0 is what exactly? So we know we've kind of got a definition of what Web.2 is, or we've talked around it. So what's library or enterprise or info 2.0 look like? So I want you to draw me a picture, please, not in pairs, but in groups. If you want to just draw a picture of what you think Library 2.0 or Information Organisation 2.0 looks like. And I'll just give you, has everyone still got paper? Yep, I've got some more here. Everyone's just got 5 minutes to do that. And if you guys in Collaborate, I don't know if anybody wants to draw a picture and then tweet it. If you want to just draw a picture, then take a quick snap and tweet it, we can have a look at those in the class. Okay, so has everybody got some pictures? They don't have to be perfect. of what they think Library 2.0 looks like? Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna. Who wants to show us their picture first? Okay, so let's go across to. Okay, so this is the first group, and it's like is that like a library? Okay, so show us a couple of pictures. Okay, so we'll go with this picture first. So this is like a website?
More or less.
Okay.
That's using basically like all technology everyone's on it nowadays.
So it's all so your Library 2.0 is around technology.
Yes, it's all very simplified. Search for materials there, ask the librarian about stuff. And the library's always been a hub for some events, so
yeah, so it's kind of like a pared down thing that's just easy to get to information.
And probably like, in my holds due soon, or do I have holds that are coming to me?
Okay, cool. Cool, so that's yours. Okay, so what did your Library 2.0 look like? Ooh.
We kind of had it a bit more like a Doctor Who, sort of like a portal.
Oh, I like this Doctor Who. Can you show us?
Not very good. Yeah, so the library, it's not so much more about the physical space anymore, but the actual portal of what it can allow people access to. So things like books, ebooks, video CDs, all that kind of stuff, but events, both physically and also online. It's a meeting place. It's more about technology, hubs, internet access for those who can't afford it.
Cool. I like the idea of the like the Doctor Who thing. I'm picturing the guy in the scarf from Doctor Who. Like that's because I'm old. No one knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, you're with me with the doctor with the scarf. Okay, so what's your? Okay, I'm going to make you hold it up and show everybody what it looks like. Okay, so this is the next. So this is a.
Everybody is on the computers and they're happy, and there's one very sad lady in the stacks because nobody wants to use the books, they all want to use the computer.
Okay, cool, that's cool. Yep, cool. Okay, so that's a good picture. And then you guys?
Anyone? Well, it's all mine also about all the social media and everything that's going on to digital libraries.
Cool. So hold that up. I'm going to show my own terrible artwork.
So yeah, it's basically just the web going onto digital libraries and that kind of thing.
And that's the same, you as well? You've got the, yep. Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. So do you want to tell us about that one?
Pretty much.
Okay, cool. And so no one wants to do my willings. I'm like the roving mic lady. So what did you guys come up with? Ooh.
We didn't really finish what we were doing, but we were talking about interaction, collaboration, advertising services, but information being the centre of the organisation's processes and services and sentiment sort of thing, where customers can gain services and be pushed advertising, but feedback sentiment into the organisation. And yeah, we haven't quite finished it because I haven't really sort of worked out where the arrows were going.
Thank you. And yes, I will snap them for Twitter in a minute. I will snap at them for Twitter, guys. Okay, so do you guys want to hold yours up? Oh, yours is quite detailed. I like. You've got to show the artwork to the rest of the class. Okay, I'll let you hold this. Here we go.
So we did a bit of a before and after, and the before has like the users behind the library desk and then the books on the other side of that, and the librarian is like the gatekeeper. And then afterwards, I didn't actually draw anything about the books. It was sort of like about the different ways you can get in touch with the library and with the librarians. So they're more accessible because they're all on Twitter, apparently, according to the readings that I did this week. And, you have content from the user, like tags and forum content and FAQs and stuff. And then users can also, chat online with librarians directly if they want to. I was going to do something in there about ebooks, and I ran out of time and space as well.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to snap these, and apparently there's one in Twitter. So let's have a look at the one someone's tweeted there. Did you do it with the INN333 hashtag? Oh, look, there's one in Twitter. Okay, so that's kind of similar to what we're getting in the classroom. So that's really interesting. Okay, and now I'm going to show you mine. And this is what my Library 2.0 looks like. And it's terrible because I'm a terrible drawer, so you probably never want to be partners with me in Pictionary. Word to the wise. So I've drawn a library, and it's in, again, not artistic, but mine's got like all bright, shiny stuff, like shiny, new, like Twitter, shiny. And I've written, I've got a computer connected to it, and I've actually written the words information superhighway with the Library 2.0. So that's my version of Library 2.0. It's all shiny and bells and whistles and light bulbs and stuff. Not that I'm against Library 2.0. So Library 2.0, it's all the business. So if we think, so I just want to think about library. If there's a Library 2.0, I think it kind of means that there was a Library 1.0. So if Library 1.0 is an information resource, is Library 2.0 a participation space? If Web 2.0 is a participatory web, is Library 2.0 participatory library? All these things. Like if it's about transparency, does that mean that Library 2.0 is about transparency? If Web 2.0 is a story about community and collaboration, are these really important principles for Library 2.0? And if Web 2.0 is about technology, does that mean that Library 2.0 has to be about technology? Did you? Yep, okay, so the 1.0 is like the video store and the 2.0 is like the Netflix, so that's interesting. So Library 1.0, Library 2.0. Now, the actual definition that I like best of Library 2.0, and I didn't get this off Wikipedia, I've read this in an academic source, and this is my favourite definition, because it's Library 2.0 equals books and stuff, people, radical trust, time, participation, and that's what Library 2.0 equals. I don't really love the term Library 2.0 because I think it sometimes focuses on the technology because it sounds like Library 2.0, we're moving, we're and I don't love it, to be honest with you. And we're already talking about Library 3.0. You know, people are sometimes in the literature writing about Library 3.0. I mean, I don't even know what that really even means. Like, yeah, I think it's a there you go. The first, like, someone wanted to be the first one to say Library 3.0. So I don't love the term Library 2.0 at all. It is not a term that I use because I think, yes, Library 2.0, it is irreversibly wed to technology. It is about the technology. Like, you can't separate them. But it's about, I think when we use a Library 2.0, you go back to the beginning, we start focusing too much on the bright and shiny and not so much on the user. So we get carried, there's a tendency to go, Library 2.0 means we're going to get all this new stuff, rather than Library 2.0 means we're going to actually think about the principles of 2.0-ness, which is the collaboration and the participation and all those sorts of things, which is why I think that we can probably, probably come up with something better. So all the Library 2.0 projects that people tend to do are things around technology, rather than, and I don't think that, I think that the Library 2.0 project could be story time for kids. Because if Library 2.0 and Web 2.0 is about collaboration and democracy and power to the people and all these things, then, well, what's story time? That's teaching literacy to kids. So in my mind, kids story time is a Library 2.0 project, even if you don't do it on iPads or anything like that. So I think sometimes Library 2.0 makes us think about things in a different way. Yeah, and I mean, but I still think it's really like a relevant service. So, and I mean, Tammy's saying here she thinks it's about participation and collaboration more than tech. And so that's my sort of take on Library 2.0. So I say participatory, not very well sometimes. So Library 2.0 or the participatory library, are they the same thing? Some people say, you say potato, I say potato, Library 2.0, participatory, it's the same thing. I think that they are different. I think that using that language makes them slightly different. And really, is it anything new? Should this Is it anything new, and should it be anything new? Because haven't libraries always been customer focused? Haven't we always been about the user needs and responsive service? And now we're just doing it in a different space? Like, is it really anything new, or is it evolution or revolution? I guess is what I'm asking you to think about Library 2.0 or the participatory library. That type of thing. So in either case, whatever you want to call it, what do our customers want and need, and how do they want it delivered? Our services should be informed by the understanding of our customers. So we should be continually doing user needs analysis and going back out to our communities and finding out what our communities want about everything, because it's no good having a collection of books that nobody wants to read. We need to know what our users want. That's the basis of a library. You have to have a collection that appeals. You have to have all those things. Or an information service. If you don't know what your users want, well, this kind of stuff before you started. And change, where change is needed, not change for the sake of change, just because, as we talked about at the very beginning, the bright, shiny things. Everyone's on Twitter, we're going to get on Twitter, and it's going to be really good, and we don't know what we're going to do there, but we'll send a few tweets and then never use our account again. And I think participatory is better because it takes the focus off the technology. So I say participatory, but I don't know if anybody, some people have got other names, better names. There's the social library, the social organisation. Has anyone heard anything else apart from that? That was, I think, a buzzword for a while, the social business. Everything was going to be a social business. Yeah, so I like participatory because it focuses on the aim, not the tools, not the 2.0-ness of the things, but rather the power that these tools give us to provide a really good service to our users, and that's where I'm coming from. So what I'd like you to do now, just quickly, is draw me something different. What does a participatory or a social library look like? Does it look different? Does it look the same? Do you need to throw your old drawing out and start? I do need to throw my old drawing out and start again. But do you need to? Like, what does it mean? Does your library going to look any different now that if we use the word participatory, or is it going to look the same? Are you going to still draw a Twitter, or are you going to think about what you're using Twitter for? So I'll give you just a couple of minutes to think about whether you think your drawing would change at all, or whether you think it means something else. And collaborate, people. I'm going to take some photos of these Library 2.0. So you guys can I just take a photo to snap that for the collaborate guys? Is that alright if I tweet it? Yeah. I won't put anyone's name on it, I promise. I'm just going to send it to Twitter so they can see it. Are you alright if I tweet that so that everybody can see what we were talking about? There'll be no names mentioned. I'm not collecting data. Oh, you're adapting this first drawing. No, that's all right.
We could do a mashup.
A mashup. Who wants to let me take a picture of theirs? Thank you. Oh my God, I realised I just haven't turned the mic. I didn't turn the microphone off, so you've just heard me running around the classroom. I'll turn it off now. Okay, so I'll just, I've tweeted those and that, but I just want to ask, did anyone's change? Did anybody radically change theirs to make it look different? Or do anything different to theirs from participatory to Library 2.0? Okay, so you guys changed yours a little bit, and Twitter, I think this is the photo with the purple people. Yep. Okay. So this is the Doctor Who library portal one. So how did your change to participatory? What did you change?
Well, we actually put our little kept the portal there, put our people inside the actual physical building of the library, but had like computer terminals, had like a coffee shop. People could sit down and drink coffee. Had chairs, bean bags. People can just relax, meet people. We also had people at home, and we haven't quite got around to connecting to the library portal. They're not actually in the physical building, but they're still connecting.
Okay. So these guys just have drawn a coffee shop, which I think is cool. And also, but I think the really other interesting thing you touched on is virtual online communities, which I think is a big space for libraries. So we talk about having, there's like libraries as a social hub and people coming to groups and things at libraries. Should we be doing that in the online space as well? If we're a participatory library, should we be creating online community spaces for people to come and talk? Like, should it just be us pushing content out to them? Are we just tweeting, come and see our book club? Or are we creating a collaborative space where people come and people can talk? So did you guys change your picture at all? Or were you pretty happy with what yours was?
Yeah, I like our personalities.
Okay, so
we
you
added smiley faces to them.
Okay, cool. So you guys, because you had moved, so yours was based around participation in the first place? Okay, so this group didn't change. Did anyone else has changed? Did you guys change?
Sort of where, like, what the information service is for, sort of put it in the background. So we've got the customers and suppliers and the staff. We haven't filled in all the things, but just put it into the background of sort of whether it's the industry, the government, the council.
Okay, cool. So did you guys, yours stayed pretty much the same, or? We added, so there's a group over here that added users to their picture, which I think is, that's what we're all about. Well, that's what I think it's all about. So I didn't draw a picture of the participatory library, partially because my first drawing was so bad. No, not really. And also because I want to talk to you about what I think a participatory library service looks like. So I think that a participatory library service looks like Yarra Plenty Regional Libraries. Looks like Yarra Plenty Regional Libraries in Victoria. So they're in Victoria. They are, Yarra Plenty, I think they're like 25 k's out of the city maybe. And I think they're a participatory library. And why do I think that? I'm going to tell you why I think that, but I'm going to tell you using their words. So I did some research with them, and there's a quote that's really stuck in my head. And they said, when you get into these online spaces and you get into the participatory spaces, you don't want to be the rug. You don't want to be the rug ad. You don't want to be the rug salesman. Because there's always those ads, the classic rug ad, closing down tomorrow, last days, and they're always, those people in those ads with the closing down for the rug shops, they always yell. I've never had somebody say, come down and buy this lovely Persian carpet. They're always yelling in those rug ads. And she said, we don't want to be that. Like, you don't want to get into that online space and yell at your customers about your services, yell at them to come down and buy a rug or borrow a book or do something because we've got all this stuff for you to use. And so they had a really considered approach because they, every single one of their tools, they really thought about how they were going to use it. So they had a Twitter stream that they monitored, and they had a plan for how they were going to use Twitter. It wasn't just getting it for fun. It was, okay, we've got Twitter and now we're going to use it. And there are libraries, there's lots of Australian libraries that have got Twitter accounts and have never tweeted. And I've seen library Facebook pages with complaints on them about the library that have never been responded to. So they've got these participatory tools to be user-centered, but they're actually doing nothing to help your users. And in actual fact, they're making you look pretty bad to have these tools and not do anything. So I think Yarra Plenty think about the way that they're going to use tools, and they also do really cool things. They use things like Wikinorthia. So I talked about History Pin before. Wikinorthia is if you Google Wikinorthia, you'll find it. It's a really similar initiative from Yarra Plenty, the library and the council, and there's a couple of other organisations involved. And they've got a map of the local area where you can go on and you can put a story about, I grew up in Yarra Plenty in this street, and do you know, I remember that milk shop down the corner where Mrs. Jones used to sell me Redskins for 5 cents each. And then someone else can go in and say, oh, I remember Mrs. Jones, I remember her too, did you go to blah blah school? And it's just beautiful. It's an online community. It's like if we had a school reunion or a community reunion. They're really creating something with their customers with that site, and they're really using their tools. They're very deliberately not rug salesmen. They're not shouty. They're trying to engage their customers. They're doing it in lots of different ways. They've got a social catalogue. So Biblio Commons is it's a social catalogue. So when you go in and you borrow a book from the library or you read a book, you can put your own comments on it. You can say, thought this book was pretty average, thought it was good. You can add it to your bookshelf. You can swap recommendations with other readers. So they've got all the bright, shiny tools, and they like bright, shiny tools, but they're using them for a specific purpose and for a specific reason. They're very lucky in that they've got very good management and a council that works with them and lets them do that. And not all council libraries can do that. There are council libraries that would love to do that, and we're going to have some guest lecturers here that will talk to you about what they've tried to do and haven't been able to do, which is unfortunate. But Yarra Plenty are lucky to have it, but they've done it well anyway. So what were you going to say? Yeah, I think they're trying to create their own personality in an online space. And there's a really interesting, Kate and I did some research on what sort of voice your organisation has. And I hate to use the word brand, but you know what I mean. Like really, if you're out there, what sort of voice should QUT Library have when it tweets you? Should we be making jokes about, I don't know, hex fees? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a real, you've got to go into it consciously because you've got to create a voice that you've thought about that's going to appeal to your customers. So you've got to know your customers, and you don't want to annoy your customers. Like, go back to the Arab Spring. Michael Kors, does everyone know? It's an American brand. I think it was Michael. I'm sure it was Michael Kors. They tweeted during the Arab Spring, there seems to be a bit of an upset. Everyone must be in a rush to get to our new spring collection. Like, just the biggest, like what a terrible, terrible thing to do on social media. Absolutely appalling. So obviously someone in the office has thought, oh, Michael Kors is a bit of a, we're a bit of a cheeky brand, we're a bit of a funny brand, we're a bit hip, let's make this joke that's, it's inappropriate on so many levels, but when you're talking to your customers, you've got to think about who you are in that virtual space. And libraries do it differently. So sometimes there might be there's a library, one of the Victorian University libraries, and they've got their Twitter guidelines. So, every organisation has Twitter guidelines. Obviously don't tweet things like that Michael Kors person, or don't do certain tweets like that. But their Twitter guidelines say things like, be sarcastic, make Melbourne jokes, make Melbourne, hipster jokes and in-jokes that our students are going to get, because that's the voice that they want. Oh, yes, Queensland Police Force, we just heard them. Queensland Police Force are absolutely awesome. Like, I think that Queensland Police have done it really well because they're not making inappropriate jokes, but, there's ones about, watch out, there's many cows moving across the road. So it's kind of that a bit, yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of that really interesting way to do it. So I think that's what a participatory library service looks like. It's someone that's using technology for creating conversation. And that's my big thing is I think a library is a conversation. I actually think libraries are just a conversation that's been going on for about, 7,000-8,000 years. Let's go with that. Because if you think about it, every time I write a book, I'm writing in response to you. So even before we had any of this technology, libraries were a conversation between scholars across the ages. And now it's just a different type of conversation, and we're facilitating that in a different way. So that's what I think participatory library is. And while I'm on my soapbox, the other thing that I think is really key is social justice and libraries. So libraries should be a place, in my opinion, where every single member of the community is welcome, no matter what they look like, where they come from, how much money they've got, whether they've got a house, whether they are homeless. It doesn't matter. I think libraries should be a place where everybody should come to. Sorry? Well, some libraries sometimes have, libraries are welcoming places. I don't think there are any libraries that would necessarily turn those people away, but there are a lot of non-traditional library users. So there are people that might not feel comfortable going into a library for a lot of different reasons. So if you, like to give one example, SLQ, State Library of Queensland, beautiful, beautiful library, absolutely stunning. Like that building, amazing. And the library staff there are all really lovely. They're all very welcoming. They've got a social inclusion program. They've got amazing things. There was a project that QUT ran last year with some kids from Logan High School, high school in Logan, brought them into SLQ. They were really intimidated by the building because they thought that they shouldn't belong there. It's too nice for them. Now that's not anything that the State Library of Queensland has done to block them coming in. It's a perception that you might have about your library and that it's not really for you. People feel that way about different cultural institutions. They might think that the art gallery is not for them, or that it's not really their space, or they're not entitled to it for whatever reason. And so I think that building on that social justice issues, a lot of these tools are a really good way for libraries to reach our non-traditional users. So traditional users, okay, so I'll take myself for an example. I've always used the library. So there's programs, there's a million programs designed for me, there's a million things, and you can reach me because I will come to the library anyway. I'm going to come whether you like it or not. I'm going to find you on Facebook, and I'm going to follow you, and I'm going to do it. And I take my kids to Storytime there, and I am a traditional library user, and thank you very much. So that's great. And if you can tweet me stuff, even better. But there are people, non-traditional library users, these tools are a really good way, because these are people that aren't necessarily going to go and find Brisbane City Council libraries on Facebook, or who aren't going to do what I do and subscribe to the State Library of Queensland's program about things. They're going to find their information a different way. So some of these tools are a really good way that we can think about opening up the libraries. And all those products and services and programs for traditional users like me are great. Like, don't lose them. Like, I don't want Storytime to go. I don't want any of that stuff to go. I love it. But when we're thinking about these tools, just think about them in the ways that they can open doors. It doesn't have to just be appealing to your traditional users. So yeah, I think these tools are a really good way to open things up for social justice type of things. Okay, so that's sort of the participatory library. So what are the challenges? Let's talk about implementation of all these things that we want to do. So if we think about the words we use to describe the participatory library or the enterprise, the organisation, transparent, responsive, dynamic, user-focused. So do these words make you think of any particular challenges in organisations? Well, Tammy, I agree with that. Outreach programs can help, but we need to go with the people. I agree, Tammy. But anyway, so who can think of any challenges? Like, if you're, some of these words, transparent, dynamic, can sometimes feel a bit risky for management of organisations. Yeah, security, yes. Yeah. Yep, slow to respond. Kids today, that's the perfect example. Yeah. Why would we want to do that? Yes. Why would we bother? It's going to change next week. And that's the thing, like it can feel risky to say, no, we're going to be completely open and invite everyone in and our users will decide our services. That's not always going to get the best response. I don't think I'd want to prepare a management brief. Yes, I agree. Yep. Yes, I agree. And we've just had a comment in the classroom about the traditional sandstone academic library and getting that shift and change. And it's very, I think it is really, I think you're spot on there with that. Oh, so I don't know what's actually happened there. Is that Kate that's logged in? Yep. Okay. All right. So challenges, we'll just go to some challenges around implementing a participatory service. So as we said, agility and responsiveness, and balancing agility and responsiveness with all these different things, with organisations, policies and frameworks, because everybody works inside policy and framework. It's all very constrained. There's also lots of information architecture that people have spent a lot of money on designing the website that they want you to work within. And if you want to create a like an outpost, a site somewhere else that's not going to sit under that corporate structure, that can be a real problem. How do you know, there's a lot of worries about, oh my God, what's the security like? How do we police it? Is all our traffic going to go there instead of the website? So all those things. And there's also, you know, a worry about a danger in preempting things, and people don't want to get on the technology too early. Because what if it's a fad? What if the kids don't like it tomorrow? What if it's the next MySpace? But there's also a danger in leaving it too long. Like, you don't want to be the last person to get on Facebook because by that time nobody cares anymore. We've all moved on to the next thing. So it's really, I think it's a hard balance for organisations to achieve. And also there's just all that stuff around policies and frameworks. And I consider a tweet from an organisation to be a record. So I would say that's a record. Like if it's from an organisational account that says, you know, Domino's Pizza's happy to refund your money or whatever it is, then I would say that that's a written corporate record from them, because it's been, well, that's the thing, and I think that's what companies worry about, like the legality of all these things. What is it? It's a very risky thing, and you don't want somebody tweeting things that maybe they shouldn't be on your corporate account. Yeah, free pizzas for everybody. Domino's could do that and we'd all be in trouble. Well, you know. There was was it HMV, I think? They live tweeted their firing. They live tweeted their firing. They all got fired. Like it was a music company that got swallowed by another music company. It was in the UK, and obviously the new company wasn't watching their Twitter stream. And they fired the entire office, like came in and made them redundant, and they were live tweeting getting fired and saying things from the organisation. And then the new organisation might have had to say, well, okay, well if they've told you that all records are 99 cents now, I guess we have to live up to it. So there are all those sort of risks and things around it, and the challenges around it. It's not as easy as we would like, I suppose. Oh, it's bad management from the company that took them over. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely bad management, and they should have, there are ways to minimise it, but I think sometimes people don't think about it, or they don't think about it in that way. Yeah, don't know what it means. Yeah, it's really interesting to think about things like that. Okay, so what about when you're the user on the other end? So we're just going to talk about personal learning networks. So when you're the user, I want you just to think about, like, how do you use the Web 2.0? And I think we've talked about privacy a lot before when we talked about data, but we're talking this week about personal learning networks and things. So how much are you comfortable giving away? Not so much with your data, but with your personal information. And where do your private and personal worlds intersect? Do they intersect? Do you just have one account that's open to everybody and nobody minds? Kate did. And what do you mean, Kate's Twitter account, or? Yes, yeah, and that's. Yep. And does everyone know that story about Kate? No? Okay, so I'll just share it here. So Kate used to be have two Twitter accounts, which were Kate at work and Katie Davis, which was her share. So she had like a personal and a professional Twitter account, and she just decided that she was just going to have one and tweet from the one account about both personal and professional things. Because that was her, and she's happy to do that. And and she did have to delete some tweets that might have had images of people that didn't want to be on Twitter in a personal, with that kind of thing. But it's I don't know if any of you have followed Kim Tyree. She's she's on our Twitter resources this week, but she's the head of information resources, or She's one of the associate directors of Swinburne University Library, and she's got one account. She's really open on Twitter. So there's lots of selfies and lots of things, and I really personally love following her because I think she's full of, yeah. Oh, okay. I'll have to have a look and see what that, okay. I'll see if I can fix that up. But yeah, so she only has one personal, like she has one account for everything. So I guess that's something that I guess we're trying to get you guys to think about. Where do you draw the line? I've got a really firm line in the sand for myself. I've got 3 kids, and I never tweet about them. Like I might say, thinking of getting something for the kids. I don't mention their ages, if I can help it. I don't mention their names. I don't put any of their funny sayings, or anything like that, ever. And I would certainly never tweet a photo of them. Because my Twitter account's open. But on somewhere like Facebook, I will put photos of them because my Facebook account, I don't, like, to me that's a locked, and I know it's not because Facebook's using all my data, but it feels more secure to me. And so I like to say, well, this is the professional me and this is the personal me. And other people have got really different lines. So it's about thinking about how you want to do that. And there's different arguments. I mean, you know, there's different people that use it different ways because some people say, well, if you're just always professional, how's anybody, you know, if you never tweet anything about yourself, then you're boring. Like if you never tweet, just ate the best ham sandwich, or whatever it might be, or, you know, I can't believe that, you know, William just attacked all the chickens with lightsabers again, then I don't have any personality, you know. This is a regular occurrence in my house, I tell you. You think it's funny, chickens and lightsabers? I wonder they won't lay any eggs. But you know what I mean? So are you, like, where do you draw that line? Do you throw in the occasional funny story to make, like, you know, a bit quirky and interesting? Or do you go, no, sorry, that's a different sphere that I'm operating in? So I guess that's saying that you guys all, and everyone needs to figure that out themselves. I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way to do it. It's just where you want to draw the line in the sand. The passwords, remembering them all. Yeah, no, well, I just have like a 3 that I continually cycle. So. Okay, yep, so self-promoting and feeling comfortable. Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. So if you think people that are better at introverts and extroverts, and that's the selling team me. That's the phrase one of my friends used. She said, I'm no good at selling team me. And I don't think I am very good at it either. I'm good at talking, in general chit chat, but there are lots of people that are very, very good at networking. And yeah. I think it can, we're just saying if you don't come up with funny, quirky things online, it can feel like you're disadvantaged. I'm never funny online because I can't be funny. Like, I'm not funny. Like, I can't write. I know some people that well, see, maybe I should take a photo of that. Like, there are some very funny librarians out there. Like, there's Hugh Rundle, I think he's really funny. Like, he comes up with these really witty one-liners, and I go, no, I wish I'd thought of that. And I never tweet anything funny because I like to think about it, then I write, I go, oh, and then I delete it, and then 5 minutes later I go, I'm not even sending that stupid tweet because everyone's tweeting something better about that anyway. Yes, well that's the thing, you can't try to be funny. Yeah, and that's, yeah, you've just got to find something that you're good at. And I guess that's the thing for me. I'd never try to be funny, and I never try to do anything like that. I just tweet stuff that I'm comfortable talking about. Like, did you see this article? What do you reckon about that? Sorry, you what? Yeah, I'm good at retweeting other people's stuff too, but I try, you know, so, yeah, and I think that's the thing, like you just, and I have made a lot of connections on Twitter without being funny or quirky or super hip, or I'm not a hipster, like I'm none of those things. I'm not the hipster librarian. I've managed to make connections, and people go, oh, I know you from Twitter, and I go, really? That's nice to know. So you don't have to be, you can be very separate. Like I'm very separate about personal and professional, and I'm not funny and I'm not quirky, but people will still know you. Sorry, what did you want to say? Yeah, and that's the thing. You've got to be careful with your humour. You can't be.
Well, maybe we should say comedy is better than time.
Yeah, and you've got to be very careful about what you think is funny. And I don't know if anyone's seen it. Kate and I think linked to our Stirify where we did this thing on Twitter, librarians on Twitter, that we did at VALA, and we did this. We captured all this data about what librarians were saying on Twitter just after the federal election. And it appears from our data collection on Twitter librarians that nobody likes Tony Abbott and everyone likes cats, which was really interesting. So you've got to know your audience, which is what you're saying. If you're a Green supporter and you're talking to a whole other lot of Green supporters, then it's probably quite okay to say in that circle of Twitter people, I really don't like Tony Abbott. But if you're I can't imagine Peter Coldrake, the Vice Chancellor of the university, would put something like that on his personal Twitter account because he's going to have a very different audience. Yes. Mm.
You have to be really careful about what sort of
Yep.
things you comment on. Like, I couldn't even comment on something saying, I mean, people would shoot at each other over there. Because someone would construe that as me being either pro-Palestinian or pro-Israeli, and I'd be in trouble. So you do have to really...
Yeah, I think that's true. You do have to be careful. We're saying you have to be careful what you tweet about, like the current conflict in Palestine, and you don't want to be tweeting things about that could be misconstrued because it can lead to all sorts of bad things. Saying that, and I've just said I've drawn this big line, I have tweeted some things that have been not particularly about that context, but I have tweeted, I follow, and I often retweet, the Vagenda magazine. So that's King Lear for girls, and it's a feminine, I don't know if anyone else follows it on Twitter, but I love it. It's nothing to do with libraries. It's a group of feminists in the UK, and they just tweet some amazing stuff. And I'm sure that some of the things that I have tweeted, people have gone, oh my God. But I'm comfortable tweeting that because I think that that's something that I'm comfortable being in public as saying I am a feminist and I am willing. So you have to think about what you're comfortable saying that you are. Are you comfortable saying that you love Tony Abbott? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say that. Or are you comfortable saying that you don't? Are you comfortable saying what you're comfortable saying? And about certain things. And I think it's always wise to stick off really controversial topics. Okay. So that's the sort of personal. So then the other thing to think about is learning. Do we use Web 2.0 when we think about it as a learning tool? Yes? You think so? Yeah, that's true. Twitter is a learning tool. Yep. Yeah, and you see it as a learning tool, personally, professionally? Yeah. 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 And I mean, I don't listen to the radio, I just listen to podcasts, to stuff that I want to hear about. Yeah, and that's the same thing. Yeah, so Twitter becomes your virtual news feed or Facebook for some people. So it's a learning tool, and I guess you just got to think about whether you use it to learn personally or professionally, and whether you separate those out. So I don't really have any, I probably have like 2 people or 3 people I know on Facebook that work in libraries. So I never talk about libraries because nobody really cares. And they're more interested in seeing chickens and lightsabers with my kids. So I don't see that as a learning tool because I'm not connected, like as a professional learning tool, because I'm not connected with any professional people. Twitter to me is a professional learning tool because people that I follow are librarians or in higher education or technology and are tweeting about that. But in the same way, Facebook might be a learning tool personally because everyone that I know is always sharing, well, everyone I know at the moment is sharing bloody tips about the paleo diet. Don't even get me started on that because I just am Sorry if anyone's on the paleo diet here at the moment, but I am not on the paleo diet. And if I see one more person telling me about clean eating, I might cry. I know. I reposted that on Facebook going, this is fine. But anyway, so it's not teaching me things about that, but I'm a mum and there's lots of really interesting things that my other mum friends share on Facebook about how to make your child eat vegetables or bedtime or something like that. So it's a personal learning rather than professional learning. So it's thinking about where you want to learn, who you want to learn from. Do you learn in different spaces? Like I wouldn't follow, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Tumblr. Ah, yes.
You'll see a post go past and then something goes past again and someone comments exploitation and it's a bit like, big game telephone. And, Twitter probably has it as well.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. It's like you think when people ask back.
Yep.
But I think with Twitter, I don't know if there were important about that, but, Facebook sometimes stuff goes through uncritically, so you have to be on your own.
Yes. Yep, that's very true. Yeah, like it can be a source of misinformation. Like all those people that believe the paleo diet is a good thing. Sorry, I'm sure there's somebody who's on the paleo diet somewhere going. Yeah. Wow. You'd be good to go. Wow, that's just a bit of information from Tumblr that essential oils will cure Ebola. Yeah, and I guess that's the thing, misinformation stuff does just go through uncritically. Like people just like it because it's there. Like I liked something the other day about hot chips being awesome. Because they are awesome. So I don't think hot chips is awesome is misinformation. Well, yeah, that's true. You're not, but we do think uncritically. And then network, personal learning network. So I guess my last point is networks. How many networks do you want? Do you want one? Do you want to have a personal learning network? Some people don't want one, and that's okay too. You don't have to, I think it's really important to have one, and I've found it very helpful in my, being a library and information science professional. I found it really helpful. People do know who I am from Twitter, amazingly. And I found it really, really helpful because I know people before I go to conferences. I've had really good experiences with doing research. It's the lazy girl's guide to doing research because people just tweet you articles, which I like. So I want one and I've got one and I really like it. And I've probably got two because I've got the personal and the professional. So I think it's just the personal learning network. The last thing is a network. If you want one, have you got one? Do you want two? It's all those things to think about as you're sort of creating. And some of you, everybody's already got an online presence and a digital footprint, and it's just working out whether you want to have them intersect, whether you don't. And as I said, that's the decision only you can make about where you want to go and what you want to do. All right, so I think it's 10 to 8, and we're all looking tired. So is there any questions or anything anyone wants to add? No? All right, well, we might say goodbye. So Collaborate, is there any questions in Collaborate? Just let me see. Thank you. Great, thanks everyone. All right, thanks everyone in Collaborate for staying with me for 3 hours. Thank you. I'm glad it was interesting. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Hopefully you all got something out of it. If you do have any questions or anything that you want to ask about or anything like that, then just post on the forums or send the teaching team an email or tweet us or anything. And I'll say goodbye. See ya. All right. thank you. Cupping. Oh. Thank you. See you later. Nice to see you. Oh. No, I'm under the here because I've got to go take Big Back Rivers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, you too. Thank you. It was good to have you around here. I'm going to start doing every Monday there, I think. Bloody out of control. Yes, and we'll have to catch up for a coffee. Perfect. So do I. Okay. Well, we'll do it one other day. No, you won't. Yeah, but you need, Must be some card now. Yeah. Nice. See ya. I hope your mum's okay. Thank you very much. No, thank you. Yes, I would love the pictures. They're cool. See you. I guess we're confused, but this is green when it's off, not green when it's on. That's crazy. See you later. Yeah.